Hello and welcome to week 7 of Triathlon 101, the swim course for nervous triathletes. Well, we're coming towards the end. This is the second to last week and we're introducing new things this week. There's two things we're going to introduce: a new drill and a new open water practice that actually should help you with your starts. Okay, so let's get on, talk about those new things, then we'll get down to the session plans. The first thing we're trying new are prone starts in the first session of the week, session 19. And after we've done most of our hard work, we're going to then do one length sprints from a prone start. Now, a prone start is effectively simulating an open water, deep water start, where you don't actually want to start straight up. What you want is you want your legs out behind you, just flutter kicking on the surface, whilst you scull backwards to keep yourself in place. Then, when the whistle goes, bang, you're ready to go. If you're upright in the water like this, you've got to get into that position when you want to go, and people behind you are already swimming over you. So it's a really important thing to practice in the pool if you can, to get you ready for race day if you've got a deep water start. And that's true of things like Eton Dorney and races like that. You really don't want people swimming over you, and you also, with your legs behind you, want to protect your space. No one can be in your space if your legs are behind you and you're floating on the surface. So you're doing two things: you're getting ready for the race, you're protecting your space, and above all, you're making sure that someone doesn't swim over you right at the start of a race. The second thing we're introducing this week is swimming with your fists clenched. Fists to distance per stroke by length. Now, when you're swimming with your fists, you have your fists clenched and you want to grab the water with your underarm. So you're really using the underarm to actually drive the water back. The next length, you reintroduce your hands and you try to get maximum distance per stroke on every single stroke. Now, you do that by reintroducing the hand, grabbing the water and accelerating to the back end of your stroke. You accelerate to get maximum distance you can on every single stroke. So that's the fastest part of your stroke. It should always be the fastest part of your stroke in front crawl. So this is a great drill for two things. It enables you to grab the water with your underarm and sensitize that, which is important. Then when you reintroduce your hands are extra sensitive and you practice accelerating through to the back end of the stroke. I'm just going to go to the computer and show you a little bit of swimming with fists. So let's just take a look at someone doing the fists drill pretty well. We have a young chap here who, I'm sorry there's bubbles, but you can't really do that without bubbles. Let's just slow it down. You can see his lead arm is trying to hold the water and his hand is actually a fist. And that's what you want, because what you want is you want to grab the water and then push it backwards if you can. When he's breathing, he doesn't quite get the same, but he's still trying to hold the water there. When he's not breathing, that arm really grabs the water, and that's what you want to try and do. Keep a high elbow, and there he goes. When he's not breathing, he can get it on both sides. Now we'll just show you two people. He's on the right hand side, and you can see he's grabbing the water, and the girl on the left isn't quite doing so well. And the same with the other arm. He grabs the water. The girl on the left doesn't keep the elbow as high. She's starting to drop the elbow. And the whole point of this is to maintain a very high elbow, so you grab the water as far out in front of you as you can and then drive it back using that underarm. You see, even with the other arm, the girl's starting to drop the elbow with her hand, so she doesn't quite grab the water as well as the boy does. Try and do it like the boy, not like the girl, if you can possibly help it. It does take some practice, but once you're there, I think you'll find it definitely is worthwhile. Okay, let's get down to business. Session 19. More about pacing and prone starts. That's the title of this. 400 warm up, then some kicking on the side, then the extended shark fin. Please remember, with the extended shark fin, ear on shoulder, palm pointing to the bottom of the pool. Breathe on the first arm up, then on the second, don't breathe, drive to the other side. Breathe on the first arm up, then don't breathe on the second. And as your thumb leaves your underarm, that's the signal to release that arm from the surface. Very important on that drill. We then fins off, and we're going to go to pacing. We're doing 3 200 metres on 5 minutes. That should be okay for every single person. Those 3 200 metres are based on your 200 metre time trial that you've done. So we're going to take the 200 metre time trial time, add 18 seconds to the first one. That should feel fairly easy. We're then going to add 10 seconds to the 200 metre time trial on the second one, and then the third one you're going to try and do it within 6 seconds of that time trial time. Each of these is getting obviously progressively harder. We're then going to do a 100 metre swim when you're going to exactly hit that pace, and that means half the time that you did that 200 metre time trial. Once those are finished, we're on to those prone sprints. 6 25 metre sprints from that prone position. Really try and drive those legs, get those arms moving in that prone positions so that you're ready for race day if you've got a deep water start. That's very important. And there we go, rounds off with a cool down. That is session 19 done. So here we go on to session 20, and this is entitled Distance at Pace, Fists to Distance per Stroke, and More Speed. Again, 4 100s warm up, and we're doing the kick on the side and shark fin, and then we're doing 9 50s drills. Single arm with pull buoy. Please remember with this drill, we want the pull buoy out there. Rotate to the opposite side to maximise your reach, then rotate back again. We want those hips going both sides as you do that. It's also a good idea, touch, turn to breathe, so you get that breathing in the right place. Then fins off, after we've done some finger drag and these fists to distance per stroke swimming that we've shown you how to do, and we're on to pacing. We're going to do a 200 metre, a 300 metre, a 300 metre, and a 200 metre. And again, we're going to try and take that 200 metre time trial time and work to that time. So the first swim, that 200 metre time trial time plus 10 seconds, and that's off 4:30. So if you come in 3:30, that's fantastic. You've got 1 minute's rest. We're then going on the 300 metres, 2 of them, on 6 minutes 45. The first one, because this is longer, we're taking 1.5 times that time trial time plus 20 seconds. Okay, and the next one, we're going to try and just tighten that up slightly. It's again off 6 minutes 45, but we're taking that 1.5 times time trial time and trying to go 5 seconds faster than we did before, so it's plus 15 seconds. We're then going to the 200 metres, done on 4:30 again, which should be done at that 200 metre time trial time plus 6 seconds if you can. Once those are finished, we're on to 6 25 metre swims, done as half length absolute max, half length easy. So this is a feeling of real speed. You're going much faster than you can over even one length because you're only doing the push off, getting to 12.5 metres, then just easing it nicely down. Lots of rest on that one. Traditional cool down, and that is session 20 completed. Okay, we're now on to session 21, and this one's entitled Longer Distance Swims and Lactate Tolerance. Now, we haven't done much lactate tolerance before. Should be interesting when we get to it. So 200 metre continuous swim, then 450s finger drag to swim by length. And I've done this because when you finger drag, it's really nice, and then you just change it to an ordinary stroke. But when you do that, sometimes in a race, you actually lose your stroke. Sometimes in a race, your brain goes and you think, my stroke's completely gone. Well, it's really nice to be able to then think, okay, let's just finger drag for a short while and then get back into my normal stroke. It actually gets you thinking about stroke when your stroke has gone in a long race. Now, anything can be a long race, even a sprint, a 750 is a long race. Your brain's likely to go. When your brain goes and you know that your stroke is deteriorating, it's always a good idea just to get that finger dragging because it doesn't slow you down, but it does re-emphasize good stroke mechanics again. So we're doing that. Then fins on, 650s, single arm with pull buoy, catch up with a kickboard. Remember, we're coming off the side of the kickboard, driving back onto the side of the kickboard, driving. Don't come off the back of the kickboard, you will drop your elbow. Okay, fins off and builds to the main set. 450s on 110, steady, medium, faster, fast. And now we have some longer swims. So we're doing one 500 metre swim off 11 minutes, and we want this to be a steady swim. If you take something like your 200-meter pace plus 10 seconds, that should be about the pace you're going. Even 10 to 15 seconds will be fine, because you're keeping this for longer than you've swum before. 500-meter swim. We then have a 50-meter recovery on 1:30, followed by a 400-meter swim on 9 minutes at exactly the same pace. So what we're trying to see is if you can keep that pace throughout those 900 meters, that 500 and that 400-meter swim. After that, we're twice through 25 meters on 45 seconds at your maximum possible speed. And in between those two sets, we're going to do twice, there's a 50-meter recovery on 1:45. So we're building up lactate all the time in those fast swims, so it'll really feel tough towards the end. But we've got that 50 meters to ease down that lactate and flush it away, get that heart rate back down again. On the second round of that, the second round of 5:25s, go straight to the swim down, which is your normal cool down. Now this week has been a good week in terms of distance, because we've got 2,350 meters on your second swim and 2,300 on the other swim. So we really have done two things this week. We've ramped up the distance and we've increased the intensity slightly. So we're getting you ready to race now. We're getting you ready. We're getting you to the point where you will be in water and feeling, yeah, I can really do this because I've done it before. Next week's our last week. I'll see you then. But please do this week well, because we really are preparing you now to race in a triathlon.